All right, guys, I'm going to do a run through of how I value a property when my clients have interest in it and the process I go about to get to there. So first steps first is I'm going to figure out this agent. I've never heard of her before. I know most of the agents out of the Atlas office, or we've seen their names, but I've not seen Del Duca. So we're going to scope her out. She's a 323er, so that tells me she has her license for about 10, 15 years. Let's see what she's done in the past 2 years. So the past 2 years, she's sold 2 homes, so not active at all, really. I mean, the average agent, even if they're just average, maybe like 5 to 10 at least. So probably doesn't for the family here. Let's look at her sold. It's on the market for 129 days. Agents related to seller. So it's probably the family agent, like you're saying. They are loaded. So they own a bunch of stuff, commercial properties, and so forth. So let's back the bus up. Let's see what she has currently on the market. Right here, long extended market time. So that tells me she probably just talks to the cousins, say, what do you want to list it for? It's slow on the market. Maybe not much education or comp polling. It's kind of, what do you want? And let's throw it up there type of thing. So she has 2 properties listed right now. That one was vacant land. It's been on the market for 69 days at 360. So this one's 87 days that you guys are interested in. Started at 399 down to 369. In my opinion, still, just on paper, I don't care if it has a barn and a pond. That's still a lot for a 1,600 square foot house. I'm thinking more like 330 right off the, top of my head. But let's see what we got working here public records wise. So I always like to make sure everything matches up because sometimes sellers lie. Imagine that. So the square footage is 1616. Public records, that matches up. 3 beds, doesn't have the bath. Acreage is the same. Built in 1990. So looks truthful there. Taxable value, so it's not homesteaded. It's only being taxed on the fact it's worth about $180,000 because that cap hasn't come off it, or if they bought it for a good price. So that's gonna be something common in this market. We see a lot. Hopefully you've gone down that route and talk to your lender and kind of figure it out. Lenders really don't think in the future because it doesn't really matter to them. To me, the realtor, it matters what your taxes are going to be next year because that's when I get that phone call. Tom, my bill went up $200 a month. That's not fun if you're at the top of your budget. So account for that. Go to the Michigan Department of Treasury website. There's a property tax estimator. Type in your SEV. You can dial it in by county, city, school district, down to whatever you need to, and you'll crank out an estimated tax value. SEV is half your sales price. So do that just so you know. But again, you've hopefully done that since you're kind of already hit the ground running. So this is a company out of Florida, so probably something underneath their umbrella that they're running down there. Let's see. Yep, agents listed the seller. You're right. So seller has not lived in the home. So seller's disclosure statement, they are not really required to tell you anything about the home. Let's see if they were forthright with any information or if they just signed never lived in the property. It's always helpful if they tell you the age of the roof, mechanicals, all that good stuff, and they have not. They just crossed through it. So definitely important for a home inspection. It's more of a buyer beware situation. The home might be in good health, but they don't have to tell you if the basement leaks because that's their wiping their hands clean, kind of like a bank does. They never live in the property. They can't make any warrants to its conditions. So that's how they're playing it here. My next step is I do my quick estimators. This is what appraisers do because they get on the MLS, and this is how they figure out before they do all their homework, where is this property sitting in the big picture things in the area. So I got a range from 364 to 429. So basically, a lot of agents, they'll just come in here and, okay, this is our list price. That's not always the case. My confidence score is very low. We're in a rural area. Each one's kind of a Picasso. I don't have my cookie cutter neighborhood. So I got to get a good value range based on my comps, making adjustments like an appraiser would for difference in beds and baths, acreage, and all that good stuff. Looking here on well and septic, again, they don't tell us any information, so make sure you test that septic. It was built in the 90s. Hopefully it's still good. They probably use modern septic material, but nonetheless. Natural gas is great. They're hooked up. Let's see, you got the barn, you got all the country stuff. I haven't looked through the photos yet. I'll do that when I dive in a little bit deeper. But my other estimator I want to look at, this one's sometimes a little more conservative. Excuse me. So on this one, we're getting a 381, which is kind of aligns with the other one too. So that tells me that's not always what the price should be. That tells me there's bigger and better stuff around in the neighborhood, which is good. You're not the Cadillac and the Chevy sub. So, and you're on mechanics there. So there's some banging properties. That's for sure. So that's probably where it's pulling some of that $400,000, maybe inflating the value. They might be 2,500 square foot homes. This is like a Zestimate on steroids. So what I'm going to do from here is take all my information here, similar square footage, year built, all that good stuff. I'm going to try to find properties within Goodrich School District. That's what an appraiser is going to do. I'm going to try to say 180 days. It's rural. Sometimes they'll go back 360 days. Sometimes they'll leave out of the school district. There should be enough data out there, at least 4 or 5 properties is kind of what they shoot for, should be available. So I want a good mix of properties that are bigger and better and lesser, so I have adjustments up and down. If I'm adjusting down for every property because our property is less, that's not a good appraisal. That's one way to win the listing, bringing those to a listing. And here's all the good properties, kind of like they're showing you, pulling stuff from the pier, pulling stuff from stuff that's not relevant. So again, we're going to look at it, as an appraiser would, because they don't care. When it comes down to it, 3 things that determine value: what they're willing to sell it for, what you're willing to pay for it, and most often what their banks are willing to praise for is the most important part. So we got to get all 3 of those on the same page. Sometimes you can't, like you said, sometimes you just got to wait for them to keep trickling down. That's just kind of the game. So that's what I'm seeing right now. Part 2 will just be me going through the numbers, the comps. I'm going to send you that so you can look that over, and then I'll start working on your current residence.